You know, here in the Philippines, every single click, every post, every share we make is actually governed by a really powerful law. So today, we're going to break down the Cybercrime Prevention Act and figure out the rules that really shape our digital lives.
Think about it. We're online all the time, posting, sharing, browsing, shopping. But have you ever really stopped to think about where the legal lines are drawn? I mean, what kind of online actions can actually land you in some serious hot water? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
You see, as more and more of our lives shift online, from our banking to our friendships, so do the risks. This huge digital move created a whole new playground for crime, one that our traditional laws, well, they just weren't built to handle.
And that's pretty much the why behind this whole law. The government saw this urgent need to protect our digital world. The main idea is really simple. We have to safeguard our computer systems and all the incredibly valuable data they hold.
So, the official answer to all these new digital dangers is Republic Act 10175. You probably know it as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. This is the bedrock, the legal framework for our entire online world. So let's dive into what it actually says.
All right. First up, the law goes after crimes against the actual systems and data that make the internet work. This section is all about protecting the confidentiality and, the basic integrity of your information.
The most basic offense here is illegal access. Honestly, the easiest way to think about this is just digital trespassing. If you get into a computer system, someone's email, a company's private server, anything, without having the right to be there, you're breaking the law. Simple as that. Then you've got illegal interception. This is basically digital eavesdropping. It's when someone uses some kind of tech to listen in on or record private online stuff, like messages or calls, that were never meant for them in the first place.
Now, the law makes a really important distinction here. Data interference is like digital vandalism. You're messing with the files themselves. System interference, on the other hand, is more like digital sabotage. You're attacking the whole computer or network to make it stop working. And this difference is a big deal because it allows for different penalties. I mean, messing with one file is bad, but taking down a whole hospital's network, that's a full-blown crisis.
Okay, so beyond just protecting the tech, the law also goes after crimes that are aimed squarely at your wallet and your personal identity.
Computer-related forgery is all about creating fake digital documents. So think of someone faking an online receipt to get a refund, creating a bogus digital ID, or sending an official-looking email to trick you. It's basically using a computer to make something fake look totally real.
And then we have computer-related fraud, which is a really broad category that covers a ton of common scams. This is your phishing emails that try to trick you into giving up your password, or someone secretly changing online bank records to steal money. The key thing here is always that fraudulent intent. They're trying to deceive you.
Next up is one of the most personal crimes you can experience online: identity theft. This is when someone literally steals and uses your identifying info, your name, your passwords, your personal data, to pretend to be you for their own benefit. All right, now we're getting into one of the most talked about and maybe most controversial parts of this law, the content-related stuff. This is where the rules for what we can and can't say and publish online are laid out. So let's talk about cyber squatting. Imagine somebody rushes out and buys a website domain name, like, say, yourfamousbrand.com, not because they want to use it, but just so they can hold it for ransom and force you to buy it from them for a crazy price. Or maybe just to trash your reputation. That's cyber squatted.
The law also gets very specific in defining cybersex. It's defined as the willful engagement in sexually explicit exhibitions online through a computer system in exchange for some kind of payment or favor.
And then there's online libel. Now, this is a big one. The key point here is that the old, existing laws on libel are now officially applied to the digital world. The Act also makes it clear that this applies specifically to the original author of a post, not necessarily the people who just like or share it.
So we know what's illegal, but how does any of this actually get enforced? Who does the investigating? And what are the exact rules they have to follow to get their hands on your data? Well, the job mainly falls to two big agencies: the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, and the Philippine National Police, the PNP. In fact, the law required both of them to set up their own specialized cybercrime units just to handle these kinds of cases. Now, this next part is absolutely critical. Law enforcement can't just knock on a company's door and demand your data. First, they have to get a court warrant.
Only with that warrant can they order a service provider to disclose your information. And that 72-hour window for compliance? It's tight, and it's designed to make sure investigations move fast, but always with a judge's oversight.
The law also puts a clear clock on how long your data is kept. Internet service providers have to hold on to basic traffic and subscriber info for at least 6 months. Law enforcement can ask for a one-time extension for another 6 months, and if that data ends up becoming evidence in a case, it has to be saved until the whole thing is over.
And listen, it's not just people who can get in trouble. The law also includes corporate liability. If a crime is committed for a company's benefit by someone high up, that company can face a maximum fine of up to 10 million pesos.
Okay, so let's boil all of this down. What are the key things to remember? First, a lot of stuff that's illegal offline is also illegal online, but often with even higher penalties. Second, there are very specific rules for online content, fraud, and data privacy. And maybe most importantly, there are strict legal procedures in place, including the need for a court warrant, to balance catching criminals with protecting our individual privacy.
And all of this brings us to one final huge question. The Cybercrime Prevention Act was a massive step for sure, but technology doesn't wait for anyone. With new things like AI and the metaverse completely changing how we interact, how will our laws possibly adapt to protect us in a future that we can't even fully imagine yet?